Welcome back to Playwright from Zero to Hero. I'm your instructor Mahesh Patel. In this lesson, we will discuss how to analyze your test execution and debug your tests effectively. So, when you encounter issues with your code and can't understand what's happening, it's a crucial to grasp the application logic and debug your code. In the previous lesson, we explored the UI view that provide a clear visualization of all the steps executed by Playwright, helping you to understand the framework's execution. Today, we will dive deeper and explore few more ways to analyze the code execution using the trace mode. So if you are using the command line, one effective method to debug the test is to enable the trace mode. To run your test with the trace mode enabled, use the following commands. So what was the command to run we were using? np npx playwright test, and if you want to be browser specific, this thing hyphen hyphen project is equal to chromium. Now to run with the trace mode on, just say hyphen hyphen trace is equal to on and just enter. So it's running. Let's wait. Okay, now, okay, once this test is executed, now let's open the report. So how we'll open the report? We can just use the command as provided above, show report, npx playwright, show report. You'll find something called traces. Okay, so click on this thing, anything. You can see there is something called traces. Click on it. So, so this, if you see, it is step-by-step information. It is providing the step-by-step info or mission similar to the Playwright UI runner. Each step shows the state before and after action, before and after action here, we can say, which is invaluable for the debugging and especially when running the test uh, via command line. Okay, by default, Playwright generate traces for the first retry of a failed test. If you want traces for every test execution successful or failed, you can modify it. Where you can modify it, just go back here, go back to Playwright config test here. If you see traces which is on first retry, you can just change it to just on. We can just so it will for each and every step pass and fail. It will show the traces. Let me undo it. Okay. Yeah. So this is about using the trace mode on. Using the playwright, we have also other method like using playwright debugger or inspector. This is the another approach to debugging, like to debugging in the play using the playwright inspector. So how you can do? You let me just stop this thing first. It's the same thing. Run the command instead of traces. You just say debug. What it will do? It will open two windows. One Playwright Inspector to control the test execution. Another shows the live test execution. Let me run this command. Let's wait. You see, uh, two windows got open. Let me just minimize this. Okay, two windows. Okay, one is step by you can so as I said, this is the inspector, playwright inspector to control the test execution. That there is browser which shows the live execution. You can debug step by step using step over button. So there is a step over button here. This is called step over button, and or you can use F10 also. Each steps display the detailed action in the console, such as locator, click actions, visibility check, and navigation status. So let me just do one thing. If you see here on the console, you can see what all steps it performed, and it will share it navigated to this thing. Now let me just do again. And okay, Uh, Still opening. Let me just minimize it. If you see the console, it will say step by step. Okay, what it did, like waited, locator, attempting to click action. Here it attempted to do the click action, waited for the element to be visible. I'll scroll like, and after that it scrolled and done scrolling. All these things it will be shown on, under the console after you hit on that step over or button in the inspector. This method allows you to pinpoint the issue in your script if there is any issue. It will help you to pinpoint. So this is about debugging with using debug hyphen debug command. Now debugging with Visual Studio Code. Let me just go back to our Visual. Let me just stop it. Okay. Now the one last method is debugging with Visual Studio Code. How you can do uh, by setting the breakpoint in your test. So just go back to your test. This is your test. You can set the breakpoint here. For example, you don't want to execute after this step. You can set a breakpoint here and go back to your this debugging link and click on the text explorer and your tests and there there you find something called debug test. Click on it. So it will stop and it will perform and it will stop where you have put the breakpoints. So if you see it got executed here, so it executed and it highlighted where you apply the breakpoint. Now till that everything looks good. Now you can use the same step over button here to go to next step. Okay, everything looks good, nothing is failing. Again, I will go to next step. If you see, it is performing the steps and two tests got passed. So this is how in debug mode you can apply the breakpoint. You can in the test and you can run a step by step in order to debug using the step over button. Okay. To summarize, here are the three debugging techniques we covered. One is trace mode. So is nothing but trace is equal to on. This mode or this method you can use for analyzing the test via command line or CI. And the next thing you have used is Playwright Inspector for live step-by-step debugging. And the last one you learned is VS Code Debugger which offers detailed insight with variable tracking. Choose the method that fits your flow. Happy debugging. See you in the next lesson.